Hello all MRBers and welcome to another wrestling related video with me, Mike McRock. I am one half of the McRock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. Right now I am going to deliver to you my review for the February 7th, 2018 edition of WWE NXT. For this show, I've decided to go back to my original format where I talk about each segment in order from the first to the very last. So, what happened on this show this week? The first thing that happened was supposed to be the NXT Tag Team Championship match between Sanity and the Undisputed Era. What ended up happening was Sanity attacking the Undisputed Era at the ring. These two teams go at it for a bit before security and some refs come out to try to stop it. And William Regal, the general manager, comes out and says, "That's it, enough is enough. We need to resolve this rivalry tonight." It ends on this show and announces that the main event will be a 6-man tornado-style tag team match. Anything goes. That got me hooked for the show. I like that this segment set up the tone for the show, and it was a good, strong start to NXT this week. It was the right amount of teasing for the main event as well. It didn't do too much, and it didn't need to do too much. This worked on all levels of excitement here. Then we get into the first match on the show. It was a tag team match between Heavy Machinery versus Tino Sabbatelli and Riddick Moss. I thought that this match was just okay. It's pretty much a standard and predictable enhancement match. You can see stuff coming before they actually happen throughout this entire match. You know, like the hot tag, when that happens. And when this guy throws that guy out of the ring, and when this guy throws that guy out of the ring there, one guy tries to use the ropes while going for the schoolboy pin to cheat. The ref sees it. Heavy Machinery with the double team for the win. By the way, I find that their finisher is actually pretty effective. It's very impactful. And this was Heavy Machinery's enhancement match, and it looks like that NXT is really starting to take this team seriously, possibly for future contenders for the NXT championships, tag team championships. That would be a match I would really like to see. I would rather nothing more to see Heavy Machinery just beat up those two small little jobbers, what are their names, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I would love to see a squash match with those two teams. Really, I would. But then, after the match, we see Tino Sabbatelli, and he's reaching out to Riddick Moss to help him out when he could have gotten up on his own. And he extended his hand to him, and Riddick Moss refuses and walks away from his partner. Now, besides the two tags that happened during the match, you know, where one guy tags guy here, like, you tag me? What? I'm going to go in? You know, that kind of thing. There was no build-up to this turn at all. This felt completely random, came out of nowhere. I thought that this team was actually starting to get over pretty well as heels with the crowd. NXT might have had something there, and before they decided to see the potential in them, before they decided to give them a shot at the NXT Tag Team titles, they decided to split them up. Why would you do this? If you were going to pair these two up anyway to see what they can do, why cut that too early before giving them a chance? I don't understand that. It seems like that almost every team, even WWE has, they just have the weirdest obsession of splitting them up. See Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like when NXT split up Angelo Dawkins and Sorio Fulton. They could have been something, but they decided to put Fulton in Sanity, and look how that ended up. He got injured for life. I'm just saying. But the important thing with this match is that it's Heavy Machinery's match. They are the team to watch out for, and I can definitely see them as potential tag team opponents for the NXT Tag Team Championships somewhere down the road. I see more potential in them than I did with Riddick Moss and Tino Sabbatelli anyway. Even though I'm kind of fine with them splitting, they are a boring tag team, but they had something. They could have been something, but NXT just doesn't do it. It's the NXT logic. The next segment on the show, it was Johnny Gargano's coming out to cut a promo to say his words. He talks about how he really thought that he would win that match, and he had a takeover with CM for the title, and he said that it sucks that he lost, and he said that he earned the respect from the NXT fans, and he actually calls out Tommaso Ciampa, saying, "I'm coming for you," and you could feel the intensity and the emotion when he gets to that part of the promo. That was really good. I don't know why he didn't do that when Tommaso Ciampa betrayed him the first time, but I'm glad he done it here. I really do. Then he gets interrupted by the NXT champ Cien and Zelina Vega. Zelina reminds Gargano that he's a loser, and Cien beat you 3 times, and they really emphasize on that he beat Gargano 3 times in this segment. Later on, Candice LeRae comes out to even the playfield, which leads to this scuffle in the ring. Gargano and LeRae get the better one-up here. Zelina then, up on the stage, just yells at Gargano, "What's it going to take for you to go away?" And Gargano is like, "You want me gone? Give me another shot at that title." And Zelina says, "We will give you this match, but if you lose, you have to leave NXT for good." And then Gargano's emotions get the best out of him, and he accepts. And his wife was in the ring like, "Why would you do that?" And here I'm thinking, why would you do that? The guy went full you-know-what here. He really did. But again, here I'm thinking, why couldn't they do something like this for the build-up to their match at TakeOver Philadelphia when it actually really mattered? Then you would have raised the stakes for that match. Then you would have told a story in that match. I'm just throwing that out there. And also, why didn't Gargano rebuttal back and say something like, "If you lose CN, you and Zelina would have to be forced to go your separate ways. No more manager, no more title. If you lose the title, you also lose Zelina Vega as your manager." Something like that. I wish they would have done something like that here as well to even out the stakes or whatever. But as far as this actual promo segment goes, to me this was the best part of the show and the most important part as well. But it's also becoming obvious as to what NXT is going to do with this next their next NXT Championship match between each other. I see it coming from a mile away. I see Tommaso Ciampa costing Johnny Gargano his career, William Regal reinstating Gargano, and having faced Tommaso Ciampa in a grudge match at the next TakeOver show, which I'm all good for. But again, NXT have missed on a really good opportunity to build up to that at TakeOver Philadelphia. The next thing that happened was that there was a couple of announcements. One of them was that NXT revealed that Pete Dunne will defend the United Kingdom Championship against Roderick Strong. And that's going to happen for next week. And I feel that, I mentioned this last week, I feel that Roderick Strong is due for something. But having the match take place next week, I'm not sure exactly what NXT is doing and what this is leading up to for Roderick Strong. Is this going to be like a write-off for him? I don't know. It would be weird for NXT to even drop the title on Pete Dunne on a random NXT show anyway. It's kind of like a lose-lose situation. If Roderick Strong loses, where does he go? And if Pete Dunne loses, well, his reign as champ would just be a little underwhelming. To me, you would rather drop the NXT UK title off of Pete Dunne at a TakeOver event when it actually matters. If I was to do this kind of thing, I would maybe give this match maybe a few weeks or even at the next TakeOver event to build up to this match, because you actually might have something there. You could develop a legit feud between the two of them if it was done right. And also, what other opponents do you have for Pete Dunne to even challenge for the United Kingdom Championship right now? What's his name? Tyler Bates? You already done that 3 or 4 times. Aleister Black? To me, that would be a step sideways for Aleister Black. I would consider Black to challenge for the NXT Championship right now at this point with his momentum right now. So, if it was Aleister Black and Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship, I'll be like, so you build up Aleister Black so much and then you go this direction with him instead of going more upward instead of... You get what I'm saying? Aleister Black is a guy that right now should be challenging for the NXT title. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship next week. I never read any of the spoilers. I don't know shows weeks in advance, and I really don't want to know either. I like to be surprised, and I hope it's a nice surprise to see what happens. Maybe for continuity's sake, you throw out Lars Sullivan, costing Roderick Strong in the match to answer Roderick Strong's challenge with Lars Sullivan. Again, another thing NXT needs to work on. Continuity, for Christ's sake. Alright, next match. Bianca Belair versus a random jobber. This was pretty much 2 moves from Bianca Belair, and the match was over in no time at all. It was like a minute long, if that. This was pretty much Bianca Belair's enhancement match. I like Bianca Belair, I really do. I see the potential in her. I wish, though, that she would have used that hair whip in this match, but at least this match was short, sweet, to the point, and it was out of the way to get to the main event, because ultimately that's what really mattered. This was what the show was revolving around anyway. And also, before I get to talking about the main event, in 3 weeks, Ember Moon will be taking on Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. Already? To me, this really has me worried, because NXT is only giving a 3-week gap here and not stretching it out to do different things, maybe like promos, video packages, interviews, vignettes, to build up the anticipation of when they would have a big blow-off kind of match that it deserves. And instead, they're rushing into a match which feels like that Shayna Baszler might win here, and having Ember Moon's rematch at TakeOver, that would be completely counterproductive. I think what NXT should be doing is building up anticipation right now to their next match, instead of using a match to build up to another match, because that seems to be the NXT logic, and I don't get it. You don't build up a match to another match. That's just not how you do it. To me, it just diminishes the anticipation of a match. I'm just, again, throwing things out there. Then we get to the main event. That was Sanity, composed of Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane versus Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. I thought this match was not bad. It was fine. To me, it was a standard tornado style match with some no DQ elements in it. Both teams done what they could with the time given here, but I wish that the show maybe added some extra minutes here. I wanted more with this match. I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I didn't feel the chaos the match was trying to deliver here. They could have done more if they added some extra minutes, as well as maybe take out that random women's match as well, and use that time to do more with this match, with going backstage, going into the crowd, using more weapons, do all sorts of wacky, crazy, fun stuff to really raise the stakes and the tension and the suspense, because I never really fully, completely, 100% got into this match. Maybe 50%. I'm not saying it's a bad match by any means. It's a match that could have been a lot more exciting. There was just something missing here. But again, it was fine. Overall, this week's episode of NXT was a weird show. It started off good, then it goes into a weaker segment, then it goes to a promo segment that brought it up again, and then it had a weird backstage interview with Tyler Bate, when that time could have been given with either Roderick Strong or Pete Dunne. Then it goes to a pretty good backstage segment with Shayna Baszler, and then you get into a pointless filler enhancement women's match that didn't even last a minute, and it ended with a match that could have been a lot more than it was. I do like, though, that each segment wasn't just match after match after match after match. It's always good to mix it up as well, but this was just to show that you really don't need to see much of it at all. The only really important thing to watch out for was the Johnny Gargano and Cien Almas segment, and the rest of the show was like a mixed bag for me. I'm going to have to rank this show maybe a 5.5 out of 10. If you saw this week's episode of NXT, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave those comments right here in the comment section below. And you can also hit that subscribe button down below this video as well to become an MRBer on this wrestling review show.